So in this video we're going to have a quick look at wormeries, which are a really good additional compost system, or if particularly for anyone who doesn't have space for a garden compost system, doesn't have a garden or just has a really small outdoor space, a wormery can be a main compost. So the main difference between a normal compost heap and a wormery is that while a normal compost heap has loads of different creatures in it, wormeries are very specifically designed to be a good habitat for worms, and particularly these tiger worms or brandling worms, which are the decomposing worms. You will find loads of other creatures in there helping with the composting process, and we'll meet some of them, but worms are really where it's at when it comes to wormeries. So the main advantages of a wormery are that it's contained, so you can use it in a really small space, even if you've just got a balcony or a small patio area. They really don't take up too much space, and they don't get smelly particularly, as long as they're well looked after. It's also okay to put in some cooked food, so some dry cereal, bits of toast, anything like that you might have left over. Yeah, and you also get this great plant feed, this liquid plant food that comes out that you would dilute and use like a comfrey or nettle feed. The main disadvantages are that you can't compost such large quantities as in a compost heap, like the one over in the corner there, and that the worms they won't compost large things, so you do have to cut things up a bit more, and they do slow down in the winter. So it's not such a sort of just chuck it in and leave it. You need to put a bit of preparation into making sure that their food is the right texture. Just like any normal compost heap, worms like the mixture of airy things, so dry things like cardboard, egg cartons, bits of dry bread, so crushed twiggy bits to some extent, and the sort of moist things like fruit peelings and old salad leaves. So those principles apply too. So the design of their wormery is basically these, there's a base layer which has a tap in to drain off the worm juice, which is a really good plant food. We've got Pierre making an entrance here. Then there's 3 layers of the wormery, which are 3 layers that you add your like kitchen waste to, and each of these layers has a mesh base, so the worms will actually travel up through from layer to layer. So I'm just going to take you on a tour of our different layers. This top layer is the most recent one. There's not loads of worms in there. Well, you can see a few. As well as the worms, you can see lots of little white creatures, which are springtails. They're just another creature that will find its way into wormeries, and they're all going to help the composting process. So going down to the second layer, which is a bit more broken down, we've got some more material, and you can see these kind of brown, just this brown material, which is the sort of brown bits which are basically worm casts or worm poo. So that's where they've been eating the plant material and bits of cardboard that I've been putting in and pooing it out, and that's the job that they're doing. So just going to have a little rummage through there, and you can see worms doing their work and nice worm casts. And you can also see bits of eggshell that won't break down. They won't break down anywhere, really. You can see some seeds, and I think that's a bit of celery that's growing. So in many ways it's like a normal compost heap, but it does work faster and in a more contained space than a heap in your garden. So wormery is a great way of composting bits of cooked food if you have any, and a composting system that will work even if you don't have much space. It's really simple to make your own one using plastic stacking boxes. You can have the bottom box without any holes in and potentially with a tap in it that would catch that lovely dark worm juice, and then drill holes in the next boxes stacked in, so you could have up to 3 layers of boxes, and put your material in there. To start it off, all you need is some worms.